Well, good morning, Grunts. It's your favorite Uncle Brian, back with another video here. Um, gosh, it's been hard to get these videos done. Got so much going on. My brother and I just buried our father here a week ago Saturday, so I've been busy uh, dealing with my dad's final affairs and what have you. And so it's been between my regular job. Uh, it's been pretty busy. But today I want to touch on something, and I did watch the Trump inauguration, which I thought was really good. I don't dive into politics. I don't follow politics much, and I don't really care for politics. Um, I watch very little news, but I was kind of intrigued as to one of his executive orders that he signed, which I think is great, is that he's eliminating or doing away with the DEI in the federal government. He's essentially eliminating it, which I think is great. And as you all recall, the very small audience I have, I did create a video where I talk about Tractor Supply getting rid of their DE&I programs. And so I think we're seeing a lot of pushback against DE&I. When you look at DE&I, you know, it's a department that a lot of companies and other organizations and small businesses have created in the wake of liberal pushback on employment practices. A lot of people are claiming being treated unfairly in the workplace, or they claim being treated not fair during the hiring process, or they even claim the fact that, well, I didn't get the job because I'm this or I'm that. And so you sit there and you look at this stuff, and you're thinking, well, and when I think back to my Tractor Supply case study, a lot of that had to do was pushback with the customers, if I remember correctly. Except, and Tractor Supply is a Midwest born organization here in central United States, central to about southern US, where there's more conservative beliefs and values here than there are, let's say, on the very West Coast or the very East Coast of the United States. So people here think, well, why are we doing this? This is dumb. And essentially, just to break down what DEI essentially is a program that encourages equality in the workplace for women, minorities, and other groups. Now, what group of people is excluded from all these groups? That's white men, that's white males. And like I said, I'm not prejudiced against any group of people. You can be whatever you want, however you want. I don't care. Just don't push your beliefs on me, because I don't push my beliefs on anybody else. So don't push your stuff on me, essentially. Just, if you want to be trans, straight, gay, bi, whatever you want to be, I support you go doing that. But don't bring it into my place of work or anyone else's place of work and try to convince people that, oh, you should hire me because I'm this or I'm that. Like companies are hiring women. Well, you're a woman, so you get the job. Oh, you're black, you get the job. Oh, you're Hispanic, you get the job. No, it should be, when you go work someplace, these organizations should hire people based on, can they do the job they applied for? Can they do everything that's asked of them in the job description? And if you can't, then you don't get the job. And so that's what we're seeing as a pushback on is a lot of, and now, Trump, for example, and I found an article here on CBSnews.com. I'm going to briefly read over some of the things. I'm not going to read it all, because what also is tied into this executive order is not only has Trump taken aim at diversity, equity, and inclusion, but he's also says he's going beyond DEI with one recent order rescinding a civil rights era rule that has helped protect millions of workers from discrimination. Now, there was a law signed in by President Johnson, oh, in 1965, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and it's still law today. It's essentially the equal employment opportunity. And so And of course, those protections under law 1972, that rule bars federal contractors who today employ 3.7 million people from discriminating against job applicants or workers on the basis of race, gender, religion, and other protected characteristics. So when you look at what DE&I has done in the last, and I can't tell you when DE&I came out, it's still a fairly new thing. So when I read the what equal employment opportunity does is it discriminates against job applicants or workers on the basis of race, gender, religion, and other protected characteristics. Now, what DEI has done in the formation of DEI has actually reversed what the EEO was intended to discriminate from. So DEI essentially promotes the hiring of women, minorities, transgender, people of different beliefs, different values, or other different special interest type groups. And so in with the EEOC law, it also gave the Labor Department authority to take action against discrimination. So if I felt like I was being discriminated against because of my gender, because of my race, I can get a hold of the Labor Department and file a complaint against whoever, and then they would take action on such things. So all Trump has essentially done, and I'm going to focus more on the DEI because I do believe we need the EEO. I think the Equal Employment Opportunity Law is very vital in a lot of stuff, how people are treated in the workplace. So I think that's good. And I don't think Trump has eliminated all that, but he's mainly targeted DE&I. And so let's keep going here. Well, DEI, like I just read that. Well, DEI is shorthand for programs that encourage equality in the workplace for women, minorities, and other groups. So essentially, DEI has essentially became preferential hiring for uh, women, minorities, and other special interest groups, people. And so that's what Trump is going after. He's essentially saying, we shouldn't be hiring people based on their race or based on their gender. We should be hiring people more so on their skill set, their education, work experience. What does this applicant bring to the table that this applicant here does not? So it's kind of leveling the playing field for everybody is essentially what this is doing. And it also talks about pay. I mean, I don't know. I never believed in the pay gap whatsoever. And so so now we got it's still stunning to me that he took such an extraordinary step, said Fatima Gosgrave, CEO of the National Women's Law Center, a nonprofit advocacy group focused on gender justice. Again, that's probably another liberal type bullshit program that this woman created to create fair and equality for women, which I don't know how much more equality women could get here. Um, I don't understand that. So, what was equal employment opportunity rule? So, how does revoking the rule impact protection for workers? It's still illegal under U.S. law for employers to discriminate on the basis of race, gender, and other traits. Yeah, that's true. That still holds true today. And then, of course, with rescinding such things, you'll have a little blowback. Again, this talks a little bit about the EEO rule. Um, and here's another important area to talk about too. Does this have an impact on private employers? While the Equal Employment Rule focuses on federal contractors, Mr. Trump's executive orders could spill over to private employers. It's not just about government contractors and grantees. It is clearly a stepwise approach and is going to apply to the private sector. And it already has. Like I said, places like, and there's even a small list. I covered a video with Tractor Supply. When they eliminated D&I, other companies such as Meta, which is Facebook, Ford, McDonald's, Walmart, have been stepping back on these programs. And also decisions followed a 2023 Supreme Court decision banning affirmative action in college admissions, as well as pressure from conservative political activists. And goes on here to say, why is President Trump banning DEI? Mr. Trump's aim is to restore what the administration considers to be a merit-based hiring system. Now, it is a policy of the United States to protect the civil rights of all Americans. Here we go. Again, it says to protect the civil rights of all Americans. But as you can see with D&I, it protects the civil rights of women, minorities, and other special interest groups, not everybody. So this is why we see a shift in hiring trends with companies and small business because they feel pressure that if they don't hire women and minorities, and now they're violating this new DE&I rule, which if you don't hire a woman, she can come back and say, "Oh, you didn't hire me because I'm a woman," or if you didn't hire a Hispanic male, for example, he can come back, "Oh, you didn't hire me because of the color of my skin." So it's going to open up loopholes where a lot of places, you're not going to be able to satisfy everybody. So. Um, DEI policies have led to illegal, pernicious discrimination that has prioritized how people were born instead of what they were capable of doing. See, that's what I just mentioned moments ago. DNI has prioritized the way people were born. Okay, so you're born a black woman. Oh, so that makes you special. Well, you're no more special than the white male or the Asian female or the transgender, whoever. Um, I tend to look at people as equals, regardless of your gender, your race, your special interest affiliations, whatever. I'd rather base a person, base a person on their character, their values. Like I said, I don't care if you're transgender. I don't care if you're bisexual. I don't care what you are, as long as you're happy with who you are, with what you're doing, and you don't push your values and merit system onto me. Try to make me believe that, oh, this is the way you should live. No, I don't care how you live. I care how I live. I don't care how the neighbor lives. I don't care how that neighbor lives. I don't give a shit. I care about how I live. And so, um, numerous lawsuits have taken aim at DE&I programs with some alleging that the policies discriminate against people who aren't minorities or that they violate some workers' rights of free speech, among other allegations. The Trump administration isn't getting rid of the concepts of diversity, equity, inclusion as they are typically understood. A viewpoint from a research fellow, not, he's getting rid of the critical, yeah, he's getting rid of the critical social justice version, which is inherently divisive. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not against DE&I per se, but I am against the critical social justice version, which essentially, okay, you're this, so you're much higher than the white guy or whatever, So we're pedestalizing special interest people that believe they're special interests, and all he's doing is getting rid of the social justice stigma of it. What will happen with DE&I programs? Well, as I've covered it already, Tractor Supply, along with the Meta, Ford, McDonald's, and Walmart, and then, like I said, I think Nike's done the same thing. I think a bunch of other companies have followed suit in this. So I think this is going to be a uh, what I want to call it. I guess an example set that hell, well, if we can get rid of the D&I programs in the government, this ought to be an example for the like I said, the private sector. And DE&I programs are being scrubbed from the federal government according to Trump administration directives. All federal employees in DE&I roles were placed on leave by 5 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. And I don't remember when he signed that. I think it was last week he signed this. So I'm gonna guess Wednesday the 22nd. By Eastern time on Wednesday, agencies are also told to take down all outward-facing media, websites, social media accounts, etc., of DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, canceling upcoming DEI trainings, and terminate contracts with DEI-related contractors by the same time Wednesday. And if I remember, okay, yeah, so meanwhile, Mr. Trump's January 21st executive order requires federal agencies to come up with up to 9 potential civil compliance investigations of publicly traded companies, large nonprofits, and other private institutions with DE&I programs that constitute illegal discrimination or preference. So essentially, what we're looking at here is going to be a roundup of companies that potentially are that constitute illegal discrimination preference. So essentially, what President Trump is doing here is he wants to level the playing field where where everybody's treated fairly, everybody's treated the same, regardless of, like you said, your gender, your skin color, your religious and political beliefs, or whatever special interests you may be interest or you have ties or whatever, it's leveling that playing field. Essentially, let's take a look at a person's character. Let's take a look at a person's how they conduct themselves, how they treat others, how they essentially how you how you act as a human being, not more so how what traits you're born with, but what do you bring to the table. So um the part that part of the executive order seems to be an attempt to intimidate the private sector. Well, it may, just based on how it's being handled right now. I think it's going to be more of a setting an example. And, if you, in order, for an organization to be led successfully, the leadership example it comes from the top down, all the way from the CEO to the man or woman sweeping the floors and cleaning the toilets at night. The same way with government. If you want to rule a country, you want to have a successful society, the examples of leadership has to come from the top down, which starts from the President of the United States down to the lonely homeless person, for example. So you have to set the example. I mean, is it intimidating? It might come across that way because it's President Trump, and we know how President Trump behaves most of the time. So that's the article. I think it's about time. We've been, like I said, we've been hiring people based on the traits they were born with. Okay. Oh, you were born African American. Oh, you were born a female. You were born this, or you were born that, or you became transgender, or stuff like that shouldn't matter. Should not matter in the least. A person's character is measured on how they conduct themselves, how they treat others, how they perform at their job, how they, so like if I'm applying for a job, uh, I should be uh, evaluated by, can I perform a job? What does my past work experience bring to the table? What does my education bring to the table? And overall, what does my character bring to the table? It shouldn't be based on, oh, you're a white male, so we can't hire you. I mean, you look good on paper, but we can't hire you because you're white male. We got to hire minorities, or we got to hire this woman over here. We got to hire. No, I think those days are probably coming to an end for the most part, which I think is great. It's a step in the right direction. Um, so leave a comment down below what you guys think about this. I will link this article in the description of the video down below. So if you want to read it, you sure can. But otherwise, that's all I got today, guys. Have a great day and toodles.